Marvel fans, listen up. This is huge news. We just got a massive article in the Hollywood trades talking about all the changes being made behind the scenes, how Kevin Feige is attempting to right the ship of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this article confirms some rumors that were out there. It also debunks some others. And so in this video, we're going to break down the details of this article, but I'm also going to fill it in with context because I know all the leaks and the rumors and everything that people are saying behind the scenes when it comes to Marvel and their attempts to turn around the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, the main thing we have to get across here is why this article is such a big deal. Number one, this is in the Hollywood trades. It's written by Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt, who are very, very good. But the thing you've got to keep in mind is that the Hollywood trades usually work with the Hollywood studios. So this piece is really Marvel Studios themselves via the trades trying to tell us, the fans, what's really going on. So keep that in mind, and let's now break down the article. What's really in here? What are they really trying to tell us? Well, this article is really trying to tell fans that Marvel is aware of how bad things have been, and it wants to signal that they are addressing the problem. They are not giving up, and in fact, are working harder than ever to make the Marvel Cinematic Universe great. And I think the final line in the article drives this point home. It's a quote. "They're not giving up," says a source who has worked with Marvel over the past year. "They want to make something great." Now, the article begins by pointing out that Quantumania and its failure critically, box office wise, and via fan reception was the beginning of the realization that things needed to change. And this will come into play later when the article discusses Jonathan Majors and Kang and how they're moving in a new direction, but we'll get there. But it's clear that the article and Marvel really want fans to know Quantumania was really bad, and that was kind of the signal to us that this shit ain't working. However, the article then explains that despite a turbulent 2023, 2024 is off to a good start. The article touts the record-breaking Deadpool and Wolverine trailer numbers, the record-breaking X-Men 97 trailer numbers, and the announcement and reveal of the Fantastic Four casting and logo. It felt to me like the article is kind of saying, hey man, Quantumania real bad. A lot of what happened in 2023 was absolutely whack, but we're finally starting to give you guys the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and you seem really excited, right? And I guess fair play to them. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine is breaking records. The article even explains the 120 million views that Disney added through the Super Bowl, but it still explains that that's a huge positive sign for Marvel. The fact that Deadpool and Wolverine was viewed that many times, good sign. The X-Men 97 trailer broke the all-time record for any Disney Plus animated trailer ever. This includes Star Wars stuff and Marvel stuff. And I think that really just shows the strength of the X-Men. And the Fantastic Four cast and logo was mostly met with positivity. Fans are excited about that movie, even though there are a lot of questions. So fair play to Marvel. Yeah, 2023 was bad. And yeah, you guys started 2024 off with a bang of a week where you had the Super Bowl trailer, Wolverine and Deadpool. You had X-Men 97 and you got Fantastic Four. So yes, doing the things and having the franchises that we actually want to see is a sign that things are going in the right direction. Thank you very much. Now, the article then shifts into explaining how Marvel is revitalizing the projects that are coming out in the next couple of years. They first mention the reshoots for Agatha Darkhold Diaries and explain that the reshoots only took a single day of shooting. And if you read between the lines here, it's as if they're saying we're spending a little bit of time fixing Agatha, but we're not going to do the Secret Invasion and the Marvels thing, in which we spend months of time and massive amounts of resources on projects that are ultimately fucking lame. And that's good because there's only so much you can do to make an Agatha show more interesting. But then the article discusses new creative writers coming in to help the Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts. Eric Pearson is being brought on to polish and rewrite the Fantastic Four script, and given his history with helping to take Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow to better, tighter scripts, it would seem that the Fantastic Four script is being taken from good to great. So when it comes to Fantastic Four, they're bringing somebody that's worked in-house before, that has taken kind of crazy, chaotic, and fun scripts and just tightened them up and made them better. Thor Ragnarok is one of the best Marvel movies ever, and I imagine it was less so before Pearson came in and sort of refined some of the wild ideas that Taika had. When it comes to the Thunderbolts, the inclusion of Joanna Cowlow signals a desire to give that film a unique and creative voice. The article also mentions the film being about superheroes going on a mission where they're all supposed to die. And so Marvel seems intent to create its own version of the Suicide Squad. And by adding the showrunner of the hit show The Bear, they're proving that they desire a unique voice for this unique Marvel movie. So basically, this part of the article is signaling to us, the fans, that yeah, they're not going to cancel these things. They are going to follow through on the promises that they made before, but they are bringing in people to try to revitalize these projects while also not necessarily putting too many of those resources into certain projects like Agatha that don't really pass the smell test and are likely not going to perform all that well. This is their solution for this massive problem that they have. I've talked about this a lot on streams and videos, but essentially Marvel had this sort of old mentality. Let's call it the Phase 4 mentality. And the Phase 4 mentality kind of took the audience for granted. The Phase 4 mentality had Marvel believing they could take any franchise and any character, despite maybe low popularity in the comic books, and turn them into a hit with fans. That is just proven incorrect. And so they have all this stuff that was in development with that bad mentality in mind. Now, thanks to Quantumania and the horrible results for them in 2023, they sort of realize that they need to go with stronger franchises. They need to go with more A, B level characters. And yet they have all of this slog that they don't want to cancel. And so they're trying to fix it. They're trying to take the stuff that was started with the old mentality and adjust it so that it fits a little bit better within the new mentality. However, the next part of the article is where it gets really juicy. This has to do with Kang and Avengers and how they're going away from the Kang storyline. And I want you to remember that at the start of this article, it talks about Quantumania being the truly shocking and low point for the studio. And now in this part of the article, they mention going away from the Kang character, and they talk about how that decision was based on the performance of Quantumania. The article confirms that Avengers 5 will no longer be titled the Kang Dynasty, and it mentions that the Kang character will either be minimized or excised completely from that film. This contradicts reports from Daniel RPK, who was claiming that Marvel was not moving away from Kang. And it confirms a lot of the reporting that we've done here in videos and in streams. However, I really want to drive home how important this confirmation is. Like, this is so nice because of the conflicting reports. And that includes a document sent out by Disney itself a few weeks ago that had Avengers 5 still titled The Kang Dynasty. And as I said at the beginning of this video, it's important to remember this article is a collaboration between the studios and the trades. This is them working together to try to tell us, the fans, what is going on. So Feige and Marvel, they want you to know the rumors are true. They are going away from Kang. And they also want us to understand this is not just because Jonathan Majors was convicted. This is because they took a look at what happened with Quantumania, and they just realized fans weren't feeling it. And I think it's just a better idea for them to shift into perhaps more exciting, more compelling plans. Like, it's way better to have crazier other villains like Doctor Doom, like Apocalypse, like Ultron, like a King Thanos. All of those are just way more interesting and exciting than Kang the Conqueror. Kang was always a C-level, D-level villain in Marvel Comics. And if you remember, Marvel didn't even decide to make Kang the actual villain of the multiversal saga until they saw Jonathan Majors' performance in the Loki show. That means that this wasn't something that was super well planned out. And I think we can all tell. Now, look, we're going to talk more about Kang. We'll talk more about that in this video, but I also want to address this other huge part of the article. It talks about how important the Fantastic Four casting is because Marvel is still looking for faces of their franchise to replace what Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans were to the Infinity Saga. And this is especially fascinating because of something that's not in the article. That would be any mention of Tom Holland or Spider-Man. After this article came out, a lot of people were retweeting this portion of the article. A lot of articles went out there that were like, Marvel's still looking for faces. They want the Fantastic Four to replace what Chris Evans and RDJ were. And many fans were frustrated by this and talking about their favorite characters that are currently in Marvel. You had some Doctor Strange love out there. Like, why isn't Doctor Strange that guy? You had some love for the Scarlet Witch. You had some love for Shang-Chi. But most of the retweets and most of the confused fans were discussing Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, how can it be the case that they're making this argument in the article, that they're signaling to fans that the Fantastic Four cast is supposed to carry the franchise, be the new faces when they have Spider-Man, the most popular Marvel character ever? And I know why it's not in the article, and that has to do with a ton of rumors that have been coming out about Sony and Marvel beefing behind the scenes. Right now, the reports are that Sony and Marvel cannot agree on the direction of Spider-Man 4. This is because Sony wants the movie to be very big. They want it to include multiversal elements and possibly even bring back Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, while Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige and Tom Holland want that story to be more grounded. They want the story to be about Spider-Man being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Sony is reportedly also trying to get Kevin Feige to rush out Spider-Man 4, and Kevin Feige cannot do that. And the reports on that are because he's way too busy doing all the other shit that we talked about in this article and in this video. Like, he's trying to clean the MCU up. He's trying to fix up certain scripts and fix up certain movies and shows and get everything back on track. So he doesn't have the ability to fix Fantastic Four, to fix Thunderbolts, fix Captain America, fix Blade, fix Agatha, fix the Ironheart show, fix all of these things, and also create Spider-Man 4 with Sony. And I bring that up because I think that's intentional. I think they intentionally try to not bring up Spider-Man and present to us, the fans, that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are likely to be the new faces of the franchise instead of Spider-Man. This is like a little bit of a war in the press. This is like Marvel Studios trying to signal to Sony, hey, we've got the ability to do this without Spider-Man, so you guys better play ball because we'll just lean on the Fantastic Four and the X-Men if we have to. But I also do agree with fans that part of the reason we don't have any faces is Marvel's fault. Like, Shang-Chi is awesome, but we haven't seen that dude in years. Doctor Strange, also awesome. We haven't seen him in years, and we won't get his next movie for several more years. And so while it's kind of weird that they're not bringing in these other characters in a more consistent way, it kind of seems like they're trying to tell us that the new faces of the MCU are going to be the Fantastic Four and the X-Men.